The sky has always been a gentle companion to human life. When we look upward, we see a vast canvas that is never still, a living painting that shifts with the passing hours. It is in constant motion, though often so slowly that we hardly notice. Clouds gather, stretch, and dissolve. Breezes move silently through invisible layers of air. Sunlight filters through haze, rain falls in soft curtains, and at night, the sky turns into a deep, quiet ocean. Weather is not only a set of scientific processes, it is also a rhythm of comfort, a natural cycle that accompanies every heartbeat of the world. When you take a moment to breathe and watch the sky, it can feel like the earth itself is exhaling. Every cloud you see is made from water that has traveled through oceans, lakes, rivers, and soil. This water evaporates into vapor, rising upward where the air is cooler. Once it reaches that height, the vapor condenses into tiny droplets that cluster together, forming the soft bodies of clouds. What looks like a weightless puff drifting across the sky is, in truth, countless drops suspended in balance. It is a quiet miracle happening above us every day, often unnoticed. There is something soothing about knowing that the same water you drink, the same water that nourishes the trees and runs in streams, is the same water that travels into clouds. Nothing is wasted. It rises, falls, and returns, cycling endlessly. This is the water cycle. Though spoken of so simply, it becomes more than science. It becomes a story of connection. The drop that forms in a cloud may have once been part of a river thousands of miles away. It may have once washed through soil or rested in the sea or even fallen as snow upon a mountain. In time, it returns again, always moving, always alive. Clouds are the first gentle chapter in this story of weather. They remind us of softness and impermanence. Some are high and thin, stretched like threads of silk across the sky. Others are round and full, bright white against the blue, drifting slowly like ships at sea. Some gather heavy and dark, carrying rain within them. Each form tells a story of the air, of temperature, of pressure, of invisible forces shaping the sky. When you watch clouds move, you are watching the atmosphere reveal its secrets, not in words, but in shapes. There is comfort in clouds because they are both familiar and ever-changing. A child may lie on the grass and imagine animals in their shapes. An elder may sit quietly, watching them shift as they have for all their years. Across time and across cultures, clouds have been symbols of dreams, of mystery, of passing thoughts. They remind us that everything changes and that change itself can be beautiful. The cloud that exists in one moment dissolves in the next, yet the sky is never empty for long. Another rises, another forms, and the cycle continues. Rain is the next chapter of this gentle story. The same clouds that float so lightly eventually grow heavy. When the tiny droplets inside them join together, they become too large to stay suspended. They fall toward the earth, pulled by gravity, and what we feel is rain. The sound of rain is perhaps one of the most soothing sounds in nature. It can be soft as a whisper when it drizzles, steady and rhythmic when it falls in a shower, or powerful and cleansing when it arrives as a storm. Each form of rain carries its own music, its own way of speaking to the heart. The first drops of rain after a long dry spell release a scent that many people find comforting. This smell is called petrichor, born from oils in the earth stirred by the water. It is the fragrance of renewal, a reminder that the land itself drinks and breathes. Rain nourishes soil, fills rivers, and brings life to every green thing. Without it, no field, no forest, no flower could survive. And yet, rain is not only about survival, it is also about mood. To sit by a window while rain falls outside is to feel a gentle kind of stillness, a reminder to pause, to breathe, to let the world slow for a while. Weather is always both physical and emotional. It is measurable by instruments, yet it also shapes our inner world. A bright, clear sky may fill us with energy. A misty morning may invite reflection. A rainy afternoon may soothe us into rest. The science explains how it happens, but the feeling explains why it matters. Weather is a mirror of both earth and spirit, shaping not only landscapes but also moods, thoughts, and dreams. When you think about the atmosphere, you might imagine it as a delicate blanket surrounding the earth. This blanket is made of gases that keep us safe, shielding us from harmful rays and holding warmth close enough for life to flourish. Within this blanket, weather is born. The rising and sinking of air, the shifting of pressure, the warming of sunlight, and the cooling of night, all of these create movement. That movement becomes clouds, winds, rains, and storms. It is all part of a balance that has been unfolding for billions of years. Though the science of weather can be explained in precise detail, there is also value in simply experiencing it. To step outside and feel the coolness of mist against your skin, to hear the wind moving through trees, to see the slow gathering of storm clouds on the horizon, these experiences remind us of our place in the world. Weather is not separate from us. We live within it. We breathe it, feel it, and depend on it every moment. As you let yourself sink into rest tonight, think of the sky above as a constant companion. Even now, clouds are forming, drifting, dissolving somewhere over mountains and seas. Rain is falling softly in distant valleys. Winds are moving across deserts and fields. The earth breathes in patterns too vast to see in a single moment, yet we are part of them, always. Just as the weather cycles endlessly, so too does rest, each night carrying us back into calm, each dream carrying us into renewal. There is comfort in knowing that the same sky stretches over all places, that no matter where you are, clouds will pass, rain will fall, and sunlight will return. The rhythm of weather is the rhythm of life itself. To watch it is to witness change, and to rest beneath it is to feel peace. So let yourself relax as you imagine clouds forming and dissolving, as you imagine rain falling in steady streams, as you imagine the earth breathing quietly around you. The story of weather continues without end, and tonight it will carry you gently into dreams. When you look up at the sky, clouds often appear as shifting sculptures, floating slowly across a vast canvas of blue. Their shapes are never quite the same, yet they fall into gentle families that reveal much about the air and the weather above us. For as long as people have watched the sky, clouds have been a source of imagination and wonder. They are also clues, soft signs of what is happening in the atmosphere. To learn their shapes is not only to know the science of weather, but also to appreciate the poetry of the sky. Cumulus clouds are perhaps the most familiar. These are the puffy white clouds that look like cotton drifting lazily above. Their rounded tops rise high, while their bases are flat, creating the impression of floating islands. They often appear on warm afternoons when rising air carries moisture upward until it cools and condenses. To watch cumulus clouds is to see the sky at play. Children often point to them, imagining animals, castles, or ships in their shifting forms. They are light-hearted clouds, usually bringing fair weather, though when they grow larger, they can build into towering storms. Cirrus clouds are different. far more delicate. They form high in the sky, where the air is thin and cold. Instead of thick puffs, they stretch out in long, feathery strands, often shining white against the deep blue above. Cirrus clouds are made mostly of tiny ice crystals sparkling faintly as sunlight passes through them. They move quickly, shaped by strong winds in the upper atmosphere, and their graceful patterns can look like brushstrokes of an unseen painter. When cirrus clouds gather, they often suggest that a change in weather is coming, but in the moment, they carry a sense of beauty, light, and transience. Stratus clouds are quiet and unassuming. They spread out in wide gray layers that blanket the sky. On days when the light feels soft and diffused, stratus clouds are often above. They may bring a fine mist or drizzle, or they may simply hang in stillness, turning the world beneath into shades of gray. Though they lack the dramatic shapes of cumulus or cirrus, stratus clouds offer their own kind of calm. They create a sense of shelter, a ceiling that softens the brightness of the day and invites a slower pace. Then there are nimbus clouds, the rain bearers. The word itself means rain, and these clouds are thick, heavy, and dark, filled with water ready to fall. When nimbus clouds cover the sky, they bring showers, steady and nourishing. They remind us of the cycle of renewal, how water rises to the heavens only to return again, feeding the earth. Though gray and somber, nimbus clouds carry a gift, offering life to every living thing below. Of course, the sky rarely presents these forms in isolation. Often, clouds mix and transform. Cumulus clouds may grow into cumulonimbus, the towering thunderclouds that rise like mountains. Cirrus streaks may appear above other clouds, weaving threads across their tops. Stratus layers may break apart to reveal drifting cumulus. The atmosphere is a restless artist, always reshaping, always blending. This constant motion gives the sky its endless variety, a show that never repeats itself. Clouds also tell stories about height. High clouds, like cirrus, lie far above, often more than 20,000 feet in the air, where cold winds gulp them into wisps. Middle clouds, like altostratus and altocumulus, dwell at moderate levels, creating veils and patches that filter sunlight. Low clouds, like stratus and cumulus, form closer to the ground, shaping the weather we experience most directly. Each layer reveals the temperature, the moisture, and the winds of its height, like pages of a book written in the sky. What makes clouds especially soothing is their fleeting nature. They never remain fixed. A cumulus cloud that looks like a horse in one moment dissolves into nothing the next. A cirrus strand that seems like a feather may vanish as the wind reshapes it. To watch clouds is to practice letting go, to accept that beauty is temporary, yet always renewed. Just as a thought passes, just as a feeling shifts, so too do clouds remind us that change is the natural way of life. Cultures across the world have long read clouds for signs. Farmers watched them to know when rain was coming. Sailors studied them to predict winds on the sea. Travelers learned to read their forms for guidance. Even today, a glance at the sky can tell us much. Puffy white cumulus bring reassurance. Thin cirrus suggest change ahead. Heavy gray nimbus promise rain. This language of clouds connects us to the rhythms of the planet, reminding us that weather is not only something we endure, but something we can read and understand. Beyond science and prediction, clouds remain companions of imagination. To lie in a field and watch them drift is to be reminded of play, of freedom, of the vastness of the world above. Children may see dragons or castles. Adults may see shapes that echo memories or dreams. The sky becomes a canvas for the subconscious, a mirror for the imagination. Even when we know the science of condensation, air currents, and water droplets, the magic of cloud watching remains untouched. There is also comfort in knowing that clouds connect all parts of the earth. A cloud drifting over you may soon dissolve into rain that falls in another place. The water within it may travel into rivers, into soil, into the breath of trees, only to rise again and form new clouds. In this way, clouds are messengers, carrying water, carrying life across the world. To watch them is to glimpse the great cycle of connection, a reminder that no place is truly isolated, that all are linked by the sky. As you settle into rest tonight, you might imagine yourself lying beneath a wide sky filled with clouds. Picture the soft puffs of cumulus glowing in the light. Imagine the delicate strands of cirrus tracing patterns above. See the gray sheets of stratus, calming and still. Envision the heavy nimbus, carrying rain that falls gently to the earth. Let these images drift through your mind like clouds themselves, passing softly, carrying peace. Clouds are teachers of patience, of impermanence, of connection. They remind us that beauty does not need to last forever to matter. They remind us that even when the sky is gray, light waits behind the veil. They remind us that change is constant, and in change there is endless renewal. So tonight, let the clouds carry you gently, their shapes dissolving into dreams, their stories reminding you of the quiet wonder that surrounds you every day. Every drop of rain that falls has lived a long and quiet journey. It begins as water warmed by the sun, lifted from oceans, rivers, and lakes into the sky as invisible vapor. Though unseen, this vapor drifts upward, carried by rising air. As it climbs, the air grows cooler, and the vapor begins to change. Tiny droplets form, clustering together in clouds. What looks like a simple puff in the sky is really billions of these droplets held in delicate balance. Within this gentle gathering begins the story of every raindrop. At first, the droplets are far too small to fall. They remain suspended, moving with the currents of air. They collide, join, and separate, repeating this dance again and again. Slowly, some grow larger, pulling in more moisture as they drift through the cloud. When they finally become heavy enough, gravity draws them downward. This is the moment rain is born, the moment a drop begins its fall to earth. The descent of a raindrop is quiet, yet profound. As it falls, the air resists it, shaping it not as a perfect sphere, but as a rounded form, flat on one side and curved on the other. It drifts, tumbles, and sometimes breaks apart into smaller drops. Each one follows its own path, carried by winds, slowed or hurried by invisible currents. To us, it may seem like nothing more than water falling from the sky, but each drop is a traveler, shaped by forces we cannot see. Rain takes many forms. Sometimes it is a fine mist, so light it seems to hover in the air, clinging gently to leaves and skin. Other times it falls as drizzle, steady and soft, quiet enough to soothe but constant enough to nourish the earth. Showers arrive more suddenly, drops larger and more defined, pattering against rooftops and windows. Then there are downpours, heavy and powerful, washing across the land in sheets of water. Each form of rain has its own music, its own rhythm, from the whisper of mist to the drum of storms. The sound of rain is one of the most comforting sounds in nature. When it falls on rooftops, It creates a soft percussion, steady and hypnotic. When it falls on leaves, it creates a delicate rustle, as if the trees themselves are whispering. When it falls into water, it creates ripples that expand outward, a reminder that every drop has an impact. To listen to rain is to feel the presence of something timeless, something that has been falling since the very beginning of the world. Rain also carries the fragrance of renewal. After a long, dry spell, the first drops release a scent that rises from the ground, earthy and rich. This smell is a mixture of oils from plants and compounds from the soil, stirred into the air by the touch of water. It is a fragrance that many find deeply comforting, for it signals life returning. The earth is drinking again, the cycle is beginning anew, and everything living is refreshed. Every raindrop that reaches the ground continues its journey. Some sink into the soil, nourishing roots, feeding the hidden world beneath the surface. Some collect into puddles, reflecting the sky above. Others flow into streams and rivers, joining the larger currents that carry water across the land. Eventually, many return to the sea, where the sun will lift them once more, beginning the cycle again. A drop of rain that falls on your hand today may have once been part of a glacier, a river, or an ocean. It may have fallen before countless times in countless places. Rain is part of the endless cycle of water, the lifeblood of the earth. Rain shapes not only the land but also the spirit. To walk in gentle rain can feel like walking through a veil, each drop touching lightly, cooling the skin, slowing the pace of thought. Rain invites reflection. It quiets the world, softens the light, and creates a space for calm. Many people find peace in simply watching rain through a window, listening to its rhythm, feeling a sense of connection to something greater. It is as if the sky itself is reaching down, offering comfort and renewal. At times, rain carries drama. Storms sweep across landscapes, bringing thunder and lightning. Yet even in their intensity, storms remind us of the power and grandeur of nature. Heavy rain cleanses, washing dust from the air, carrying away what is no longer needed. It refreshes rivers, fills lakes, and renews forests. The force of rain may seem overwhelming, yet it always gives back, always returns life to the earth. The importance of rain cannot be overstated. Every forest depends on it, every field, every creature that drinks. Without rain, rivers would run dry, plants would wither, and life would struggle to endure. Yet with rain, the world thrives. Crops grow, flowers bloom, and animals flourish. Rain is the quiet provider, the gift that sustains all life. To see it fall is to witness the earth receiving what it needs most. Rain also connects us across distance. The drop that falls where you stand today may one day flow into a river that waters fields far away. It may drift into the sea, rising again to form clouds above another land. In this way, rain is a messenger of connection, carrying life across the world. It ties us to places we may never see, to people and landscapes far beyond our own. Every drop is part of a vast shared cycle that unites all living things. As you imagine the story of a raindrop tonight, let yourself picture its journey. See it rise from the sea, invisible at first, lifted by the warmth of the sun. Watch it join others in a cloud, drifting gently across the sky. Feel the moment it becomes heavy, beginning its fall, tumbling through the air. Imagine it touching a leaf, sliding down into soil, nourishing roots hidden below. Picture it flowing into a stream, joining many others, traveling toward the ocean once again. This is the life of water, the endless journey of rain, always moving, always giving. The next time you hear rain against your window, remember that it is more than water. It is the return of the ocean, the whisper of the sky, the lifeblood of the earth. It is a traveler from far away, completing a journey that has lasted thousands of years. To feel rain on your skin is to touch the cycle itself, to connect with something timeless and vast. And in that thought you may find peace, knowing that every drop is part of the great rhythm of life, a rhythm that continues as you rest, as you dream, as you drift gently into sleep. There are few experiences in nature as powerful and awe-inspiring as a storm. The sky darkens, the wind shifts, and the air itself seems to vibrate with unseen energy. Thunder and lightning are among the most dramatic expressions of weather. Yet when we look closely, they are also deeply natural, born from simple movements of air, heat, and moisture. Beneath the display of sound and light lies a rhythm that has unfolded since the beginning of time, a reminder of the balance and beauty of the atmosphere. Lightning begins inside clouds, often the tall and towering thunderclouds known as cumulonimbus. Within these clouds, air is rising and falling with great energy. Tiny ice crystals, droplets of water, and particles of hail are carried upward and downward, colliding again and again. These countless collisions cause an invisible separation of electric charges. The top of the cloud becomes filled with positive charge, while the base gathers negative charge. The difference grows stronger until the air itself can no longer contain it. In that instant, lightning is born. A bolt of lightning is a sudden release of this stored energy. It flashes across the sky or between the cloud and the ground, heating the air to an extraordinary temperature in less than a heartbeat. The air expands faster than the eye can see, creating a shock wave. This shock wave is what we hear as thunder, the rolling voice of the storm. The flash and the sound are two parts of the same event, one seen and one heard, arriving with a pause between them because light travels faster than sound. The brightness of lightning can be startling, yet there is also beauty in its patterns. Sometimes it appears as a single bolt, striking downward with jagged precision. Other times it spreads across the sky in branches like the roots of a glowing tree. There are flashes within clouds, known as sheet lightning, illuminating the sky in soft glows. Each form tells of the hidden forces shaping the storm, invisible currents revealed in an instant of light. Thunder follows, each roll shaped by the landscape. In open fields it may be a sharp crack, while in valleys it echoes in long rumbles. When a storm passes close, thunder can shake windows and stir the air around you. When it is far away, the sound fades into a low and distant murmur. Listening to thunder is like hearing the sky speak, a voice that has resonated across every age of the world. Though storms can seem fierce, they are part of the balance of the earth. Lightning helps restore harmony in the atmosphere by equalizing electric charges. It also releases energy that plays a role in creating compounds important for life, such as nitrogen compounds that enrich the soil. What appears as a violent flash is also a gift, bringing nourishment in ways we do not see. Thunderstorms also bring rain, replenishing rivers and fields. In their power, they remind us of the strength of nature, but in their aftermath, they leave renewal. There is also a calming perspective in remembering how rare harm from lightning truly is. Though the bolts are powerful, the sky is vast, and the earth is wide. Most lightning strikes only open ground or trees, releasing their energy into the soil. From a distance, we are witnesses, safe beneath shelter, watching the grandeur unfold. Many people find storms comforting for this reason. The sound and light, a reminder of forces greater than ourselves, yet still part of the natural order. Storms have always inspired awe. Long before the science was known, people looked to thunder and lightning as signs of the divine, as voices of gods or spirits. They carried both fear and reverence, for the display was beyond human control. Even now, knowing the science does not diminish the wonder. To see the night sky split by light, to hear the air itself roar, is to feel humbled, to remember that we are part of a vast and powerful world. There is also a gentler side to storms, found in the way they invite us to pause. When rain pours down and thunder rolls, we often retreat indoors, gathering in places of safety. The storm becomes a backdrop, a reminder to slow, to listen, to feel the rhythms of nature. For children, watching lightning from a window can be thrilling, while for adults, the sound of thunder can stir memories of summer nights and shared moments. Storms bring people together, even as they remind us of the immensity of the world beyond our walls. Lightning is not limited to thunderstorms alone. It can appear during volcanic eruptions, when ash clouds create their own charges. It can dance across deserts in dry storms, or flicker above clouds in rare forms known as sprites. These variations show how electricity is woven into the fabric of the atmosphere, always present, always shaping. No matter the form, the principle is the same, the balance of charges seeking release, the sky expressing itself in sudden light. For many, the most soothing part of a storm comes after the intensity has passed. The thunder grows distant, the lightning fades, and the air feels cooler, fresher, cleansed. The rain slows, leaving drops clinging to leaves and windows. A calm follows, deep and quiet, as if the earth has taken a long breath. This moment of peace, known as the calm after the storm, is often the most memorable. It reminds us that intensity does not last forever, that after turmoil comes rest. As you listen tonight, you might imagine yourself safe and warm as a storm passes outside. Picture the sky darkening, clouds towering above. Imagine a flash of light, sudden and brilliant, followed by the rolling sound that follows. Hear the rain against the roof, steady and soothing, while the storm moves across the land. Feel the calm as it passes, leaving the air fresh and cool. In this vision, thunder and lightning are not frightening, but reminders of the great cycles that shape our world. The story of thunder and lightning is the story of contrast, of sudden brilliance and deep sound, of power and renewal. It is the atmosphere reminding us of its strength, and the earth reminding us of its balance. In the end, storms are part of the same gentle cycle as clouds and rain, dramatic chapters in the ongoing story of weather. They may seem fierce, but they too serve the quiet purpose of sustaining life, of restoring balance, of reminding us of wonder. So tonight, as you drift into sleep, let the thought of thunder and lightning bring not fear but calm. They are voices of the sky, light of the heavens, sounds of the earth itself breathing. Trust that they belong to a rhythm as old as time, and that within their power lies a deep harmony. Let their story settle over you, like rain falling, like clouds drifting, carrying you softly into dreams. Few sights in nature feel as magical as the sudden appearance of a rainbow. After a storm has passed, when the air is still damp and sunlight begins to filter through the clouds, the sky sometimes reveals this quiet miracle. A rainbow seems both solid and unreal, a bridge of colors painted in light. It is a fleeting gift, vanishing as quickly as it arrives, yet in the moment it appears, it can fill the heart with wonder. People pause, children point, and the world feels lighter. The rainbow is a reminder that beauty often comes in the calm after the storm. The science of a rainbow begins with the simplest of things, a drop of water and a beam of sunlight. When sunlight enters a raindrop, it bends slightly, a process called refraction. The light then reflects inside the droplet and bends again as it exits. This bending separates the light into its different colors, creating the spectrum that we see. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet spread out in a graceful arc, the hidden colors of sunlight revealed by the rain. Though we see rainbows as arcs in the sky, they are actually circles. From the ground, the earth blocks the lower half, so we see only the arch above the horizon. In certain conditions, such as from high mountains or airplanes, a rainbow can appear as a complete circle, a wheel of light hanging in the air. Whether a partial arc or a full circle, the rainbow remains a vision of harmony, light and water working together in perfect balance. Sometimes a rainbow doubles. A second arc appears outside the first, fainter and with reversed colors. This happens when light bounces twice within the raindrop before leaving. The result is a second bow, delicate and mysterious, as if the sky has painted layers of its own artistry. Between the two bows, the sky often looks darker, a region called Alexander's Band, another quiet detail of nature's hidden patterns. Rainbows also appear in other forms. A faint rainbow can sometimes be seen at night, lit not by the sun but by the moon. These are called moonbows, rare and soft, their colors often pale but no less magical. Rainbows can also appear in mist near waterfalls, where countless tiny droplets scatter light. They can even shimmer and spray from fountains, reminding us that the phenomenon is not bound only to storms, but can emerge wherever water and light meet. Beyond the science, rainbows have carried meaning for as long as people have watched the sky. In many cultures, they have been symbols of hope, of connection, of promise. Their sudden appearance after rain suggests renewal, a reminder that storms pass and light returns. To see a rainbow is often to feel a quiet reassurance, as if the world itself is whispering that balance is restored. There is also something deeply personal about rainbows. They are never seen in quite the same way by two people at once. The position of the sun, the angle of the raindrops, and the place where you stand all combine to create a rainbow unique to your perspective. The person beside you may see one too, but the light entering their eyes comes from different drops of water. This means that each rainbow is a private gift, painted just for the one who sees it. Rainbows are fleeting, which is part of their charm. They cannot be held, captured, or controlled. They appear only under certain conditions, and they fade when the light shifts. This impermanence makes them precious. They teach us that beauty does not always need to last, that it can be enough to witness a moment and then let it go. In this way, rainbows are like dreams, vivid yet ephemeral, leaving impressions that linger long after they vanish. The colors of the rainbow themselves hold symbolism. Red often represents vitality and strength. Orange may suggest creativity and warmth. Yellow carries joy. Green speaks of growth. Blue of calm. Indigo of intuition. And violet of spirit. Whether or not we think of these meanings when we see a rainbow, the blend of colors touches something within us. It feels harmonious, balanced, and complete, a reminder of how diverse elements can come together to create unity. Rainbows also connect us to the idea of wonder in everyday life. We may pass through countless rain showers, yet only occasionally do the conditions align to create a rainbow. When it happens, it feels like a gift, as if the sky has chosen this moment to show its artistry. These moments remind us to pay attention, to notice the small miracles unfolding around us. A rainbow may last only minutes, but the memory can last a lifetime. To imagine a rainbow is soothing. Picture the dark clouds drifting away, the sun breaking through, the air still fresh with rain. Suddenly, a gentle arc of color stretches across the sky, soft yet brilliant. It feels almost too perfect, yet there it is, undeniable. You stand quietly, watching it, knowing it will fade but grateful to have seen it. This simple vision carries peace, a reminder of harmony after turbulence, of light after shadow. Rainbows invite reflection. They suggest that beauty often comes not despite storms, but because of them. Without rain, without clouds, there would be no rainbow. The storm creates the conditions for light to reveal its hidden colors. In this way, the rainbow is a symbol of transformation, of how even difficult moments can give rise to beauty. It is a reminder that life, like weather, has its cycles, and that within those cycles, light always returns. As you rest tonight, you might imagine a rainbow stretching gently across the sky of your mind. Let its colors soften your thoughts, each hue a thread of calm. Red as warmth, orange as creativity, yellow as joy, green as renewal, blue as peace, indigo as depth, violet as serenity. Together, they form a complete spectrum, a gentle arc that carries you into dreams. Like the rainbow itself, your thoughts may rise, shine, and fade, leaving only peace behind. The rainbow is both science and mystery, both explanation and wonder. It is a bridge of light and water, yet it is also a symbol of connection and hope. To see one is to be reminded that the world is full of hidden beauty waiting to be revealed. And though the rainbow fades, its meaning remains, carried in memory, carried in spirit, like a quiet promise that storms always pass and light always returns. Wind is one of the most constant companions of life on Earth. It cannot be seen directly, yet its presence is always felt. A gentle breeze can cool the skin on a warm day, stir the leaves of trees, and carry the fragrance of flowers across a garden. Stronger winds can bend branches, move waves across oceans, and reshape entire landscapes. Wind is both soft and powerful, both invisible and undeniable. It is the breath of the earth, always moving, always flowing, always alive. At its core, wind is simply air in motion. The sun warms the surface of the earth unevenly, heating oceans, forests, deserts, and mountains at different rates. Warm air rises, cooler air moves in to take its place, and this constant shifting creates currents. What we feel as wind is the movement of these vast currents, stretching across continents and oceans, linking all parts of the world. The same air that brushes your cheek has traveled from distant places, part of a global cycle that never rests. There are many kinds of winds, each with its own character. A breeze is soft, almost playful, barely bending the grass. It is the kind of wind that carries seeds through the air, scattering them to new places where they may grow. It is the wind that stirs curtains in open windows and moves across the surface of lakes, creating gentle ripples. Stronger winds arrive in gusts, quick and sudden, surprising in their force. Then there are gales, steady and persistent, shaping the landscape itself. Each type of wind has a role, from the smallest breath to the strongest storm. Wind connects the land and the sea. Along coastlines, winds shift as the day changes. During daylight, the land warms faster than the water, and air rises over it, pulling in cooler breezes from the sea. At night, the process reverses, with winds drifting from land back toward the water. These daily rhythms have been companions to sailors, fishermen, and coastal dwellers for countless generations. They are reminders that wind follows patterns, responding to the balance of heat and coolness, sun and shadow. High above the earth, powerful rivers of wind move unseen. These are the jet streams, fast-moving currents that circle the planet, guiding weather systems and shaping climates. Though we cannot feel them on the ground, they influence the winds we do experience, carrying storms, guiding clouds, and shifting temperatures. The winds near the surface are connected to these higher flows, just as whispers are connected to voices. All winds are part of the same conversation, spanning from the ground to the sky. Wind has always carried meaning for people. In some traditions, it is seen as the breath of life, the invisible force that animates the world. For travelers, wind has long been a guide, filling sails and carrying them across oceans. For farmers, winds bring change, sometimes carrying rains, other times drying fields. For poets and dreamers, wind has been a symbol of freedom, of unseen power, of movement beyond control. It is one of the most ancient presences in human imagination, always whispering, always reminding us of the vastness of the world. Wind shapes the earth itself. In deserts, it moves grains of sand, building dunes that shift and change over time. In colder regions, it carves patterns in snow, creating drifts and ridges. Along cliffs and mountains, it smooths stone, carrying particles that wear away the hardest surfaces. Though invisible, its touch reshapes landscapes, slowly but persistently. The land we walk on today has been shaped in part by winds that have blown for countless years. Even in daily life, wind carries quiet gifts. It spreads pollen, allowing plants to reproduce. It disperses scents, letting animals and humans alike sense the world beyond their sight. It carries birds in migration, lifting them on currents that ease their journeys. For insects like butterflies and dragonflies, wind can both guide and challenge, shaping their delicate travels. Every living thing, in some way, feels the touch of wind, whether through its power, its guidance, or its gentle caress. Wind is also deeply tied to emotion. A still, windless day can feel heavy, quiet, almost waiting. A soft breeze can feel refreshing, playful, and calming. A strong wind can feel invigorating, stirring energy and restlessness. Storm winds can inspire awe, reminding us of forces beyond our control. Just as clouds reflect the moods of the sky, winds reflect its breath, carrying emotions through the air. To listen to wind in the trees or to feel it move across the skin is to connect with this living atmosphere, this unseen companion that is always with us. There are moments when wind feels especially magical. The sound of wind in tall grasses, whispering and rustling like voices. The way it whistles through cracks in windows, creating tones that rise and fall. The feeling of it lifting hair, tugging at clothes, and reminding you that the air itself is alive. To walk in strong wind is to feel resistance, to recognize the presence of something vast and powerful. To sit in stillness while breezes pass is to feel touched by the sky itself. Though wind can sometimes be harsh, it is also a reminder of resilience. Trees bend with the wind but rarely break, their branches yielding and swaying. Grasses ripple in waves, flowing with the currents. Even the smallest plants learn to move and adapt, shaped by winds, yet strengthened by them. In this way, wind is both a challenge and a teacher, showing how life can be flexible, how it can bend and yield without losing its roots. As you imagine wind tonight, picture it not as something fierce, but as something gentle. See it moving softly across fields, bending tall grasses into rippling patterns. Imagine it drifting over oceans, carrying the scent of salt and the sound of waves. Feel it pass through trees, carrying whispers in the rustle of leaves. Imagine it brushing across your skin, cool and refreshing. A reminder that you are part of the same world that wind has touched for billions of years. Wind is not bound by walls or borders. It belongs to no one, and it touches everyone. It moves freely across mountains, valleys, cities, and seas. It connects distant places, reminding us that the world is whole, that the same air we breathe has traveled through countless paths before reaching us. To feel wind is to feel the connection of the earth itself, the breath of a living planet. So tonight, as you drift toward sleep, think of wind not as an invisible force, but as a gentle companion. It is brushed across deserts, across oceans, across forests and fields, and now it brushes across you. It is timeless, patient, and constant. It carries life, shapes landscapes, and whispers stories older than memory. Let the thought of wind be soothing, a reminder of the breath of the earth, moving always, carrying you gently into rest. There is a quiet magic in the early morning, a softness that arrives before the world is fully awake. The light is pale, the air is cool, and the land seems to rest in a kind of stillness. In these tender hours, if you look closely at the grass, at flowers, or at the edges of leaves, you will often find tiny beads of water glistening like jewels. This is morning dew, one of the most delicate and fleeting gifts of weather. It is simple in its making, yet beautiful in its presence, a reminder that even the smallest details in nature carry wonder. Dew forms when the warmth of the day gives way to the coolness of night. As the sun sets and the ground begins to lose heat, the surface of the earth cools. Air that rests against it also cools, and when the temperature drops low enough, the moisture in the air condenses. Instead of floating as invisible vapor, it gathers as droplets on surfaces close to the ground. Each bead of dew is a tiny reflection of this change, a moment when air and earth meet in balance. The appearance of dew depends on conditions. Clear skies allow heat to escape quickly, encouraging the ground to cool and dew to form. Calm nights without strong winds let the droplets gather quietly. Surfaces like grass, leaves, and petals collect them best, their thin edges cooling rapidly in the night air. By dawn, these surfaces are adorned with sparkling drops, each one a miniature lens that catches the morning light. For a brief time, the world seems decorated in crystal, as if the earth itself has dressed in diamonds to greet the day. Though dew appears small, it plays a meaningful role in the natural world. In regions where rain is scarce, dew can provide precious moisture for plants and animals. Small insects may drink from the droplets, and delicate flowers may rely on them to sustain their growth. Even in wetter climates, dew offers a gentle supplement, a quiet source of water delivered not by storm or cloud, but by the cooling breath of the night. It is a reminder that nature provides in many ways, often subtle and unseen. Dew has long carried symbolic meaning as well. In poetry, it often represents freshness, purity, and renewal. Its fleeting nature mirrors the beauty of things that do not last, the preciousness of moments that vanish with the rising sun. To wake and find the world covered in dew is to be reminded that change comes gently, that every day begins with small miracles. The sight of dew clinging to a spider's web, turning it into a necklace of light, can stir a sense of wonder far greater than its size. Sometimes, when temperatures fall even lower, dew becomes frost. Instead of liquid droplets, tiny crystals of ice form, tracing delicate patterns across leaves and windows. Frost, like dew, is temporary, melting away with the warmth of morning. Yet its presence is just as enchanting, a reminder of how closely life is tied to the balance of air and temperature. Dew and frost are two sides of the same story, each one a response to the quiet changes of night. There is also a softness in the way dew invites us to slow down. To notice it requires stillness, for the droplets are small and easily overlooked in the rush of daily life. But when you pause, when you kneel to see them up close, you enter into a moment of intimacy with nature. The world feels hushed, and you become aware of details often missed. This act of noticing can bring peace, reminding you that beauty is present even in the smallest things, waiting for your attention. In ancient times, people often believed dew carried special powers. Some thought it was the tears of the sky. Others saw it as a gift from the heavens to nourish the land. In some traditions, dew collected on certain days was used in rituals or as medicine, thought to hold purity and vitality. While science now explains dew in terms of cooling air and condensation, the sense of mystery remains. Even with knowledge, the sight of dew sparkling in dawn's light feels magical, as if touched by something beyond the ordinary. Dew also serves as a reminder of connection. The moisture in those droplets may have once been part of a river, a cloud, or even a breath of air from a living being. Water moves endlessly through the world, changing form but never disappearing. In dew, we see this cycle in its gentlest form, water resting briefly before continuing its journey. It is a pause in the great flow of life, a moment of stillness before movement resumes. If you close your eyes and imagine morning dew, picture yourself stepping into a quiet meadow at dawn. The sky is pale, the air cool and fresh. Around you, every blade of grass glitters with droplets, catching the first rays of sunlight. Flowers bow under the gentle weight of beads, each one reflecting tiny rainbows. The world feels hushed, as if holding its breath. In this vision, dew is more than water. It is peace made visible, serenity gathered into small jewels that last only until the warmth of day arrives. Dew teaches us about impermanence. It reminds us that beauty does not need to endure to matter. The droplets vanish with the rising sun, yet for those who saw them, they leave behind a memory of calm and wonder. They are like dreams, appearing in the quiet hours, fading with the light, yet carrying meaning that lingers. In this way, dew becomes a symbol not only of renewal but of presence, of being alive to the moment, even when it is brief. As you drift toward sleep tonight, think of dew forming on quiet leaves, gathering in stillness, sparkling at dawn. Let that image soften your thoughts, reminding you that life offers beauty in small, fleeting forms. You do not need grand moments to feel peace. Sometimes it is enough to notice the dew, to feel gratitude for its presence, to understand that even the simplest things can bring comfort. So let the thought of morning dew carry you into rest. Imagine the world cooling, the air settling, droplets forming in silence. Picture the light of dawn touching them, turning them into jewels. Know that just as dew nourishes plants and creatures, your dreams will nourish your spirit. Gentle, fleeting, and full of wonder, dew is a reminder that the earth is always offering gifts, even in the quiet hours of the night. Snow is one of the most enchanting expressions of weather, a gift from the sky that transforms the world into something hushed and luminous. Where rain falls with rhythm and sound, snow drifts quietly, muffling the land in a blanket of white. It is water, in its most delicate form, frozen into crystals that fall slowly, shimmering as they descend. To step outside during snowfall is to enter a softer world, one where sound is gentler, light is diffused, and time itself feels slowed. The making of snow begins high in clouds, where air is cold enough for water vapor to crystallize. Tiny particles in the atmosphere provide surfaces for the vapor to cling to, and as more vapor collects, crystals grow. The shape of each snowflake depends on the temperature, the humidity, and the path it takes as it falls. Some form delicate branches with 6 arms, others form plates, needles, or intricate combinations. Though countless snowflakes fall in every storm, no two are exactly alike. Each carries a unique design, a signature of the air it traveled through. The science behind snowflakes is precise, yet the result feels magical. To hold one on your mitten and see its tiny geometry is to glimpse nature's artistry at its finest. The 6-sided symmetry of snowflakes reflects the structure of water molecules as they bond in solid form, yet each crystal grows differently, shaped by subtle shifts in its journey. This is why snow is often seen as a symbol of individuality, of uniqueness within unity. Together, the flakes form blankets and drifts, but each began as a singular creation, fleeting and beautiful. Snow falls in many ways. Light flurries drift almost invisibly, catching light as they fall. Steady snow fills the air, transforming the landscape with quiet persistence. Heavy snow arrives in thick, swirling flakes, piling quickly and reshaping the world beneath. Blizzards combine snow with powerful winds, reducing visibility and creating landscapes of shifting white. Each form of snowfall tells its own story, from gentle dustings that touch the ground like whispers to storms that sculpt the land in bold strokes. The sound of snowfall is one of its most remarkable qualities. Unlike rain, which taps and drums, snow absorbs sound. As flakes settle, they create a blanket that muffles noise, softening footsteps, silencing distant echoes, and turning the world into a quieter place. Many describe snowy nights as the most peaceful of all, with silence so complete it feels like a presence. This hush is part of snow's charm, a reminder that nature sometimes brings not noise, but stillness. Snow transforms landscapes in ways that feel almost otherworldly. Familiar fields, forests, and towns are reshaped when covered in white. Branches bow under the weight, rooftops gleam with soft outlines, and roads vanish beneath the evenness of snow. Sunlight on a snowy morning is dazzling, reflecting from countless crystals until the land seems to shine. Moonlight on snow creates a glow unlike any other, turning the night into a world of silver. These transformations remind us that weather does not only sustain life, but also creates beauty, changing the ordinary into the extraordinary. Snow has long inspired human culture. In stories and traditions, it often represents purity, new beginnings, and silence. Festivals celebrate the arrival of snow, and children delight in its playfulness, building figures, throwing snowballs, and making patterns with their feet. At the same time, snow carries respect, for it can also bring hardship, cold, and challenge. Communities have learned to adapt to it, to build warmth within homes, to prepare for journeys through it, to honor both its beauty and its power. Animals adapt to snow in remarkable ways. Some grow thicker coats, blending into the whiteness for camouflage. Others hibernate, resting until warmth returns. Birds may leave for warmer places, while those that remain forage carefully, using snow for shelter and protection. Even the smallest creatures, like mice and insects, find space beneath the snow where the cold is softened and life continues quietly. Snow creates not only challenges, but also opportunities, shaping the lives of countless beings. Snow is also part of the great cycle of water. Though it seems still as it rests on the ground, it is only paused in its journey. When warmth returns, snow melts, flowing into rivers and lakes, nourishing the land below. In mountains, snowpack becomes a natural reservoir, storing water for the seasons to come. In this way, snow is both beautiful and practical, an essential part of life on Earth. Its presence may seem fleeting, but its impact lasts far beyond the moment it falls. There is something deeply calming about watching snow fall. Each flake moves with its own slow dance, drifting and twirling, as if unhurried by the world below. To watch them gather is to witness patience, a reminder that change can be gentle, that transformation does not always come in sudden bursts, but in quiet accumulation. Snow teaches us that even small and fragile things together can reshape the world. If you imagine yourself in snowfall tonight, picture standing in a quiet field as flakes drift downward. The air is cool but not harsh. Around you, the land softens into white, and the only sound is the faint whisper of flakes brushing against your coat. Each flake lands lightly, melting into the earth or gathering with others. Above, the sky is gray and full, sending down countless gifts. In this moment, you feel calm, surrounded by stillness, held by the quiet of the snow. Snow also carries lessons about impermanence. Just as it arrives, it also departs. The sun returns, warmth rises, and snow fades into water, feeding streams and nourishing roots. Its beauty is temporary, yet its gifts endure. In this way, snow mirrors the cycles of life, where moments of stillness give way to renewal, where endings are only beginnings in another form. To appreciate snow is to appreciate the present, to honor what is here now, knowing it will change. As you prepare for rest, let the image of snow bring peace. Imagine its quiet, its softness, its glow under moonlight. Let its stillness remind you that the world holds calm as well as energy, silence as well as sound. Just as snow covers the land, let your thoughts be covered in calm, your worries softened, your spirit quieted. Snow is the sky's most tender blanket, laid gently across the earth. It transforms, nourishes, protects, and inspires. It is fragile yet powerful, fleeting yet enduring. To see it fall is to be reminded of the delicate balance of nature, of the beauty that comes when water turns to crystal, when air and temperature weave their quiet dance. And in that thought, you may find comfort, knowing that snow, like dreams, is a gift of stillness, a pause in the movement of life, carrying you gently into sleep. Clouds often feel like familiar companions, drifting gently overhead, shading the land, and coloring the sky with shifting patterns. We see them daily, yet it is easy to forget that their journey is vast and complex, spanning oceans, continents, and entire climates. Clouds are not only local visitors, they are travelers, moving silently across the world, carrying water, heat, and energy from one place to another. Their hidden journeys connect distant regions, shaping weather far beyond where they first formed. The story of a cloud begins with water. Sunlight warms oceans, rivers, and lakes, lifting vapor into the air. This vapor is invisible, rising silently until it cools high above. Tiny droplets form, clustering together into a cloud. At first, it may seem like a small local event, but as winds move, that cloud begins to travel. It may drift only a short distance, or it may cross entire continents. What begins as vapor from one place may eventually fall as rain thousands of miles away. Winds are the unseen guides of clouds. High in the atmosphere, powerful currents known as jet streams sweep across the globe, carrying clouds along their paths. These winds can move quickly, faster than storms themselves, pushing weather systems across oceans. Lower down, gentler winds shape the movement of smaller clouds, guiding them over hills, valleys, and plains. Together, these invisible rivers of air ensure that clouds are never still, that they are always part of a larger circulation. Consider a single cloud rising from the ocean. The water within it may have been part of waves only hours before, warmed by sunlight and lifted into the air. Now, carried by winds, the cloud drifts inland. It may pass over forests, mountains, or deserts, shading the land as it moves. Perhaps it will dissolve before releasing its water, merging into blue skies again. Or perhaps it will grow heavier, its droplets joining until they fall as rain. When that rain nourishes a field far from the sea, it carries with it the ocean's gift, delivered silently across distance. Mountains often shape the journeys of clouds. As winds push moist air toward high ranges, the air is forced upward, cooling as it rises. Clouds form, and rain falls on the windward side, feeding rivers and forests. By the time the air passes over the mountain's peak, it has lost much of its moisture. On the other side, the land may be dry, shaded from rain. In this way, mountains become storytellers of clouds, creating lush valleys on one side and arid landscapes on the other. The path of a single cloud can determine the fate of entire ecosystems. Oceans, too, are essential to the travels of clouds. They are the great reservoirs of water, constantly feeding vapor into the sky. Clouds borne over oceans often travel long distances, carrying moisture inland where it becomes rain for crops, forests, and rivers. Without this movement, much of the land would be dry and barren. In a way, clouds are bridges between sea and soil, delivering the ocean's abundance to faraway places. The hidden journeys of clouds also regulate temperature across the globe. By reflecting sunlight, they help cool the earth. By trapping warmth during the night, they keep temperatures steadier. Their movement spreads heat from one region to another, balancing extremes. Without clouds traveling across continents, climates would be harsher and life would be far less stable. They are silent caretakers, shaping not only rain but also the very balance of warmth and coolness that sustains life. From a human perspective, clouds are often seen as fleeting, but their journeys are part of cycles that span seasons and years. Monsoon clouds, for example, gather moisture from oceans and deliver it inland in predictable rhythms, sustaining billions of people. Storm clouds cross seas, carrying winds and rains that reshape coasts. Even thin cirrus clouds drifting high above play their role, marking the movements of jet streams and signaling shifts in weather to come. Animals, too, live in harmony with the travels of clouds. Birds migrating long distances often follow weather patterns, relying on winds shaped by clouds. Farmers look to the sky, watching for changes in cloud cover to guide planting and harvest. For travelers, the sight of building clouds may signal shelter is needed, while clear skies bring comfort. Clouds, though silent, have always been guides, teaching us to read their forms as signs of journeys beyond our view. There is a poetry in imagining the unseen travels of clouds. A drop of water rises from the sea, joins with others to form a cloud, drifts across mountains, falls as rain upon a field, and is taken up by roots to nourish a tree. That same water may later return to the air, rise again into clouds, and continue its journey. In this endless cycle, clouds are not only shapes in the sky, but vessels of connection, linking places, people, and times. To watch clouds moving overhead is to see only a moment of their journey, yet behind that moment lies a history of travel, of transformation, of countless miles. A cloud you see above may carry water that was once snow on a distant mountain, or rain that fell into a river, or mist that rose from a forest. To realize this is to understand how deeply connected all places are through the movement of air and water. There is comfort in knowing that clouds are constant travelers, that the water within them has circled the earth many times. It means that the world is whole, that distant oceans and nearby rivers are part of the same story. The journeys of clouds remind us that nothing is truly separate, that all is part of a great shared cycle. Even as we go about our lives, the sky is weaving connections above, silent and unseen. As you imagine clouds tonight, picture them drifting across vast spaces. See them rise from the ocean, gather in the sky, and move gently with the winds. Watch them pass over mountains, releasing rain that feeds rivers and valleys. See them dissolve, their water returning to earth, only to rise again in another place. In this vision, clouds are travelers, always moving, always carrying life. The hidden journeys of clouds are not only scientific, but also deeply symbolic. They remind us of our own journeys, of how we move, change, and carry experiences with us. Like clouds, we may dissolve and reform, travel far or remain close, give nourishment in ways unseen. Their endless motion mirrors our own lives, cycles of transformation and connection. So tonight, let the thought of clouds drifting across continents bring you peace. Know that above you, even now, the sky is alive with travelers carrying gifts of water and balance. Trust that the same clouds that shade you also shade distant lands, that the same rains that fall here may one day fall elsewhere. In this endless motion, there is harmony, and in that harmony, there is rest. Let the hidden journeys of clouds carry you gently into dreams, as quiet companions of the sky, moving always, moving forever. The earth is always balancing itself, heat and cold, wet and dry, stillness and movement, all work together in patterns that sustain life. This balance is what we call climate, the long and gentle rhythm that shapes weather across years and centuries. While weather is immediate, like a sudden rain shower or a passing storm, climate is slower, more enduring. It is the background music behind the daily shifts of the sky, guiding the larger dance of seasons, landscapes, and living beings. The sun is the great source of this balance. It warms the planet unevenly, shining more directly on regions near the equator and more gently on regions closer to the poles. This unevenness sets the stage for winds, ocean currents, and the movement of clouds. Warm air rises, cool air sinks, and in these movements, balance begins to form. What feels like chaos at times is really a vast harmony, the Earth constantly redistributing warmth to keep life possible. Water plays an equally important role. The oceans act as vast reservoirs of heat, absorbing energy during warm times and releasing it slowly during cooler times. They breathe moisture into the air, feeding clouds that travel over land to release rain. Forests, too, shape climate, their leaves exhaling water vapor that helps form clouds, their shade cooling the ground beneath. Even deserts, though dry, reflect sunlight back into space, helping regulate the planet's temperature. Each element, whether ocean, forest, or desert, contributes to the balance, a network of forces working together in quiet harmony. Rainfall patterns are part of this rhythm. In some places, the air rises regularly, creating daily showers that sustain lush jungles. In other regions, rain comes only in certain seasons, arriving in bursts that feed crops and rivers before retreating into months of dryness. Elsewhere, rain is rare, and life has adapted to survive with little water. These patterns are not random. They are shaped by winds, by oceans, by the tilt of the earth, and by mountains that guide the flow of air. Over time, each region develops its own climate, steady enough for life to find ways to thrive. The seasons are the most familiar expression of climate balance. As the earth tilts on its axis, sunlight shifts between hemispheres. In one half of the world, warmth and growth flourish, while in the other, coolness and rest settle in. Then, half a year later, the pattern reverses. This exchange ensures that no place is always in abundance or always in rest. Plants sprout, grow, and seed in rhythm with the light. Animals migrate, hibernate, or breed according to these cycles. Humans, too, follow the seasons, planting, harvesting, resting, and celebrating in harmony with the larger flow. Clouds and rain are vital in maintaining balance. Without clouds, the earth would be scorched by direct sunlight, its heat untempered. Without rain, rivers would dry and soils would harden, leaving life with nothing to drink. Yet clouds and rain do not appear randomly. They move according to the larger dance of climate, gathering where they are needed, shifting where the balance requires. Storms may seem disruptive, but they too restore equilibrium, moving heat, moisture, and energy across the globe. There is also a balance between extremes. Sometimes the earth tilts toward warmth, other times toward coolness. Some years bring heavy rains, others bring dryness. Over centuries, these variations form patterns, reminding us that climate is not fixed, but fluid. Yet within that fluidity lies steadiness, an overall rhythm that holds the earth in balance. Life adapts to this rhythm, not by resisting change, but by flowing with it, bending with the cycles rather than breaking. This gentle balance reveals itself in the way different regions support different forms of life. The frozen poles hold creatures adapted to ice and snow, while the tropics host jungles bursting with diversity. Grasslands, deserts, mountains, and wetlands each carry their own climate, each supporting unique life that depends on the conditions there. Taken together, these regions create a tapestry of existence, woven from the threads of balance between heat, water, and air. Humans have always been guided by this balance. Agriculture depends on it, for crops grow only when water and sunlight are steady. Traditions and rituals often reflect the seasons, celebrating planting, harvest, or the return of rain. Even in modern times, when technology eases many challenges, we still live under the influence of climate. A dry year shapes food supplies. A warm season influences forests and rivers. The balance of climate is not something separate from us. It is the foundation on which we live. Though the forces that shape climate are vast, they are also delicate. A shift in winds, a change in ocean currents, or the loss of forests can alter the balance. This is why the climate is often described as fragile, even though it has endured for millions of years. Its endurance comes from cycles, from the constant adjustments made by clouds, rains, winds, and seasons. It is resilient, yet it also asks for respect, for care, and for recognition of its importance. There is a soothing thought in knowing that climate balance has guided life for so long. Long before humans walked the earth, the same sun warmed the seas, the same winds carried clouds, the same rains nourished the land. Creatures rose, flourished, and passed, but the balance remained. Even as the world changes, the larger rhythm continues, adapting, shifting, and carrying life forward. This continuity is a reminder of resilience, of the enduring harmony that sustains all. If you imagine the balance of climate tonight, picture the earth from above. See the sunlight warming oceans, clouds rising and drifting, rains falling across forests and plains. Watch the winds carry air from one region to another, weaving invisible patterns across the globe. Imagine the tilt of the planet, guiding seasons in their endless cycle. In this vision, the earth is alive with motion, yet steady, held in balance by countless forces working together. The harmony of climate is not always obvious in daily life, yet it surrounds us. The warmth of a summer day, the coolness of a winter night, the return of rain after dryness, all are parts of a vast design. To feel sunlight on your skin or to listen to rain against the window is to touch this balance directly. It is a gift that has shaped every breath, every step, every moment of life. So as you rest, let the thought of climate balance bring you calm. Know that the same patterns that have guided the earth for ages continue even now, steady and patient. The sun will rise and set, the winds will shift, the rains will fall, and the seasons will turn. You are part of this rhythm, connected to its harmony, carried by its flow. Let this awareness soothe you, reminding you that you belong to a balanced world, one that has sustained life for countless generations and will continue to do so as you drift gently into dreams. The rhythm of the seasons is one of the most familiar and comforting cycles in the natural world. Though weather may shift day by day, seasons arrive with steadiness, guiding the land, the sky, and all living beings in patterns that have endured for ages. Spring, summer, autumn, and winter each carry their own character, their own moods, their own gifts. Together, they form a circle that repeats without end, a reminder that life is not linear but cyclical, always returning, always renewing. Spring is the season of awakening. After the quiet rest of winter, the earth begins to stir. Days lengthen, light grows stronger, and warmth returns to the soil. Buds swell on trees, flowers push through the ground, and rivers run faster with melting snow. Birds return from distant places, their songs filling the air with renewed energy. Insects hum, animals emerge, and the land seems to breathe again. Rain in spring is soft and abundant, nourishing fields and forests, feeding the first tender shoots of green. There is joy in spring, not only in its beauty but in its promise. It tells us that life begins again, that growth always returns. Summer is the season of fullness. The sun climbs high, pouring warmth across the land. Days are long, nights are gentle, and the air often carries the hum of activity. Plants reach toward the sky, heavy with leaves, flowers, and fruit. Forests are deep and green, fields are golden with grain, and rivers flow steadily. Thunderstorms may roll across the afternoons, their lightning and rain bringing refreshment after heat. Summer holds abundance, energy, and vibrancy. It is the time of growth at its peak, when life is busy and full of strength. Autumn is the season of change. The light softens, shadows lengthen, and the air cools. Leaves turn golden, crimson, and amber, falling gently to the ground. Fields are harvested, and the land prepares for rest. Animals gather food, birds migrate, and people celebrate the bounty of the year. The winds of autumn carry a sense of transition, reminding us that nothing stays the same forever. Yet there is comfort in this change, for it is part of the larger rhythm. Autumn teaches us to let go, to release, to prepare for stillness. Its beauty is both vivid and fleeting, a reminder that impermanence is natural and meaningful. Winter is the season of rest. The land grows quiet under snow and frost. Trees stand bare, rivers slow, and animals find shelter. The days are short, the nights long, and the air carries a stillness unlike any other. Though winter may seem empty, it is a time of preparation, of gathering strength for the cycle to begin again. The hush of snowy fields, the glow of moonlight on ice, the silence of frosted mornings all speak of peace. Winter reminds us that rest is not absence, but presence, that stillness holds its own kind of power. Together, these seasons form a circle, each one flowing into the next. Spring gives rise to summer, summer ripens into autumn, autumn releases into winter, and winter rests before spring awakens again. This circle is steady, reliable, and endless. It is mirrored in countless ways, in the cycles of plants, in the rhythms of migration, in the patterns of human life itself. Just as the earth tilts and turns, we too move through seasons of growth, fullness, change, and rest. The seasons are guided by the tilt of the earth as it orbits the sun. When one hemisphere tilts toward the sun, it receives more light and warmth, creating summer, while the opposite hemisphere tilts away, experiencing winter. As the earth continues its journey, the balance shifts, bringing spring and autumn. This tilt and orbit are simple movements, yet they create the grand rhythm of seasons that has shaped life for billions of years. It is a reminder of how vast cycles emerge from small motions, how harmony arises from the turning of the planet itself. Beyond science, the seasons carry emotional meaning. Spring brings hope and renewal, summer brings joy and vitality, autumn brings reflection and gratitude, and winter brings calm and introspection. These feelings are not accidents. They are reflections of how deeply humans are connected to the rhythms of the earth. Even in modern life, when schedules are less tied to the land, the moods of the seasons still shape us. We feel uplifted by spring, energized by summer, thoughtful in autumn, and restful in winter. The outer world reflects the inner. guiding our hearts as much as our surroundings. Throughout history, cultures have honored the seasons with festivals, stories, and rituals. Planting and harvest were celebrated with gatherings and songs. The return of spring was greeted with joy, while the depth of winter was marked with lights and warmth to remind people of the sun's eventual return. These traditions speak to the universality of the seasons, their power to unite communities, their ability to remind us of connection to the greater cycles of life. There is a gentle wisdom in learning to live in harmony with the seasons. To embrace the growth of spring, the energy of summer, the letting go of autumn, and the rest of winter is to align ourselves with nature's rhythm. It teaches patience, reminding us that each stage has its purpose, that growth cannot be rushed, that rest is as necessary as activity. Seasons show us that time is not only a march forward but a circle, a dance that repeats, each step bringing both change and continuity. As you imagine the seasons tonight, let yourself picture them flowing one into another. See the fresh blossoms of spring opening in fields and forests. Imagine the warmth of summer heavy with light and abundance. Picture the colors of autumn, leaves drifting gently to the ground. Feel the stillness of winter, the quiet and the calm of snow. Let these visions remind you that you too move through cycles, that your own life mirrors the seasons, full of beginnings, fullness, change, and rest. The rhythm of the seasons is steady, reliable, and soothing. It is one of the oldest truths of life on earth, guiding plants, animals, and people alike. To live under the seasons is to live in connection with the turning of the planet, with the flow of time, with the balance of nature. Their repetition is not monotony but reassurance, proof that renewal always follows rest, that light always follows darkness, that warmth always follows cold. So tonight, let the thought of seasons bring you peace. Trust that the same cycles that guide forests and oceans also guide you. Know that life moves in rhythms, and that each season, whether of the world or of your own heart, carries meaning. In this awareness there is calm, and in that calm there is rest. Let the rhythm of the seasons carry you gently into dreams, just as it carries the earth gently through time. The night sky has always called to us with its quiet beauty. When the sun sets and the light fades, the heavens reveal their deeper layers. Stars begin to glimmer, constellations take shape, and the moon rises to cast its glow across the earth. Yet even at night, weather continues its work, shaping the way we see the sky above us. Clouds, mist, and shifting air can soften or sharpen the light, creating scenes that feel both mysterious and serene. To observe the night sky is to witness not only the vastness of space but also the living breath of the atmosphere. On clear nights, when the air is dry and clouds are absent, the stars shine with a brilliance that seems endless. The atmosphere offers little resistance, and the light of distant suns travels across space to reach us unbroken. The Milky Way stretches like a silver river across the darkness, and planets glow steadily, brighter than the stars around them. In these moments, the sky feels boundless, a reminder of the immensity of the universe. Yet even here, the atmosphere plays its role, bending light, scattering colors, and carrying the subtle twinkling that gives stars their charm. When clouds drift across the night, the scene changes. A thin veil of cirrus may soften the starlight, turning the heavens into a hazy canvas. Thicker clouds may hide most of the stars, but allow the moon to shine through, its glow diffused into halos and rings. A passing cumulus may frame a single star, making it appear like a beacon in the dark. Clouds at night do not erase the sky. They paint it with texture, shifting the light, creating mystery, and inviting us to imagine what lies just beyond. The moon itself often reveals the work of weather. When thin clouds pass before it, they scatter the light into halos, perfect circles of pale glow surrounding the lunar face. These halos are created by ice crystals high in the atmosphere, each one bending light at just the right angle. Sometimes, faint arcs of color appear within the halo, a rainbow of the night. To witness such a sight is to glimpse the quiet artistry of air and water, revealing beauty that is fleeting and subtle. Mist and fog can also transform the night sky. When the ground cools and moisture gathers, fog may rise, cloaking the landscape in gray. The moon shining through fog appears larger, its light diffused into a soft and glowing disk. Stars fade, but the air itself seems to shimmer with light. Fog at night creates an atmosphere of mystery, a sense that the world is wrapped in a veil. Though visibility is limited, the experience is rich in feeling, a reminder that the air is not empty, but alive. Weather also shapes the colors of the night. After sunset, the sky often glows in shades of orange and pink, the result of light scattering through dust and moisture. As twilight deepens, the colors fade into purples and blues, giving way to darkness. In cities, moisture in the air reflects artificial light, tinting the sky in soft hues. In the countryside, the absence of such lights allows the true darkness to return, a darkness filled with stars. Each variation carries its own mood, shaped by the simple presence of air, water, and light. The winds of the upper atmosphere also play a role, though unseen. They can carry thin clouds across the stars, shifting the patterns of visibility. They may move dust or smoke into the air, changing the clarity of the heavens. Even when we look up at distant galaxies, the air above us is part of the picture, shaping what we see. The night sky is never separate from the earth. It is always a dialogue between space and atmosphere, between the infinite and the immediate. Rain can create its own nighttime wonders. Streetlights and lanterns reflect in wet surfaces, turning roads and fields into mirrors. Drops catch the light, sparkling as they fall. When rain passes and the air clears, stars may shine brighter, the sky washed clean of dust. After storms, the night can feel especially fresh, as if renewed. The scent of damp earth rises, the air feels cool, and the heavens glow with new clarity. In these moments, weather and night combine to create an atmosphere of peace, a reminder that renewal follows even the most turbulent skies. Snow at night is perhaps the most enchanting of all. Falling flakes catch light from windows and lamps, glimmering as they drift. The ground glows white, reflecting the moon and stars, so that even in darkness the world feels illuminated. Sound is softened, silence deepened, and the air sparkles with crystal patterns. To walk through snowfall under a full moon is to step into a dream, one where weather and night sky merge into pure stillness and beauty. The night sky has always carried meaning for people. Stars have guided travelers, constellations have told stories, and the moon has inspired countless myths. Yet weather reminds us that the sky is not static. It shifts, it changes, it hides and reveals. Sometimes it offers clarity, sometimes mystery. This interplay keeps the heavens alive, reminding us that what we see above is as dynamic as what we feel below. There is also comfort in knowing that the same moon shines through all skies, whether clear or clouded. The same stars twinkle above fog, snow, and storms, even when we cannot see them. Weather may veil them, but they are always present, waiting to appear again. This constancy beneath change is reassuring. It tells us that even when skies are obscured, light remains. The clouds drift, the fog lifts, the rain passes, and the stars return. If you imagine the night sky tonight, picture it in its many moods. See the clear heavens, stars glittering endlessly. Picture thin clouds drifting, turning the moon into a glowing halo. Imagine fog rising, softening the light into silver. Envision snow falling, reflecting starlight and moonlight in countless crystals. Let these visions remind you that beauty wears many forms, that mystery and clarity are both part of the same sky. The night sky and weather together create an ever-changing tapestry. They offer wonder not only in distant stars, but in the way light and air interact. They remind us that even the infinite is seen through the lens of the immediate, that the heavens are not far away but always part of the world we inhabit. This connection between space and weather, between light and air, is part of what makes the night sky so moving. So, as you rest, let the thought of the night sky bring calm. Know that above you stars shine whether seen or hidden, the moon glows whether bright or veiled, and the air continues its quiet work of shaping light. Weather does not take away from the heavens. It adds to their story, painting them with shifting moods, turning clarity into mystery and back again. Let this thought carry you into dreams, knowing that above the clouds, the stars remain, eternal companions waiting to shine again. Weather is often soft and soothing, a drifting cloud, a gentle rain, or a cool breeze that calms the skin. Yet the same forces that create this gentleness can, at times, gather into something far more powerful. Storms, blizzards, floods, and droughts are all part of nature's rhythm, dramatic expressions of the same cycles that also bring peace. Though these events can feel overwhelming, they too belong to the balance of the earth. To speak of extreme weather in gentle words is to remember that even its power has purpose, shaping the land, renewing ecosystems, and reminding us of the strength of life. Hurricanes are among the most powerful expressions of weather. Born over warm oceans, they begin as clusters of storms, feeding on heat rising from the sea. As the system organizes, winds begin to circle, drawing in more air, more moisture, more energy. Soon a spiral takes shape, clouds stretching outward for hundreds of miles, the center calm, the edges fierce, the winds rise, the rains fall, and waves swell across the ocean. Though they can be destructive when they reach land, hurricanes also serve as immense engines of balance, redistributing heat from the equator to higher latitudes, ensuring that no place holds too much warmth for too long. Blizzards, too, are dramatic yet meaningful. When snow falls heavily and winds rise, the world transforms into white. Visibility narrows, sound softens, and even strong voices seem swallowed by the wind. The land rests under drifts, roads vanish, and trees bow beneath the weight. For those within, blizzards bring stillness, urging rest and patience. For the earth, they offer insulation, covering soil and roots with a protective blanket. Beneath the snow, life continues, shielded from harsher cold. Though blizzards may challenge us, they also nurture the land, storing water for rivers that will run in spring, feeding fields and forests when warmth returns. Floods arrive when water gathers faster than the land can hold it. Heavy rains may swell rivers, melting snows may overflow valleys, or storms may drive seas inland. To see water rise can feel unsettling, for it covers the familiar and reshapes the land in swift strokes. Yet floods, too, carry purpose. They deposit rich sediments on plains, renewing soil and making it fertile for years to come. Ancient civilizations flourished in river valleys because floods brought nourishment with every cycle. Even today, the land shaped by floods often grows with abundance once the waters retreat. What feels like disruption is also renewal, a reminder that water is both forceful and generous. Drought is the opposite, a time when rains hold back, when the land waits in silence. Rivers thin, soils crack, and plants grow thirsty. Droughts are quiet yet profound, teaching patience, endurance, and adaptation. Life does not stop in drought, it changes. Plants deepen their roots, animals travel farther, and humans learn to use water more wisely. Though difficult, droughts are reminders of value, teaching us to see water not as something endless but as something precious. When rains finally return, the renewal is felt more deeply, gratitude rising with every drop. Even extreme winds, the kind that sweep across plains or mountains with fierce strength, carry meaning. They clear old growth, scatter seeds, and shape new patterns in the land. Lightning and storms may ignite fires, yet those fires also renew forests, clearing the old to make space for the new. Each expression of extreme weather, though it may feel harsh, has its place in the larger balance of the earth. Without them, ecosystems would stagnate. With them, cycles of destruction and renewal ensure life continues in its diversity and strength. Humans, too, are part of this rhythm. For thousands of years, people have lived with extreme weather, learning to read its signs, to prepare, and to adapt. Communities have built homes that withstand storms, planted crops in cycles that respect floods and droughts, and gathered together for warmth in blizzards. Though we may sometimes feel vulnerable before weather's power, we have also grown resilient, finding ways to live in harmony with even its strongest expressions. In this way, extreme weather reminds us of our connection to the natural world, of our ability to endure and adapt. There is a quiet awe in witnessing extreme weather from a place of safety. To hear the wind howl outside, to watch snow pile against the windows, to listen to the steady roar of rain, is to be reminded of forces larger than ourselves. These moments invite reflection, urging us to pause, to appreciate shelter, to respect the rhythms of the earth. They remind us that life is not only about control, but also about surrender, about living within cycles greater than our own. The beauty of extreme weather is often found after it is past. When the sky clears after a hurricane, the air feels fresh, the light sharper, the land washed clean. When snow stops falling after a blizzard, the silence is profound, the world sparkling in sunlight. When floods retreat, valleys grow green again, fields fertile with new soil. When rains return after drought, every plant seems to rise with gratitude, every drop carrying life renewed. In these moments, we see not only recovery, but also the deeper meaning of balance, the gift that comes after challenge. If you imagine extreme weather tonight, do not picture it with fear. Instead, see it as part of the great cycle, dramatic but meaningful. Imagine a spiral of clouds over the sea, winds circling, rains falling, carrying heat across the globe. Picture snow swirling in thick waves, blanketing the land in quiet protection. See rivers rising, then retreating, leaving fertile soil behind. Feel the dryness of drought, then the relief of rain returning, feeding roots and filling rivers. In these visions, weather's extremes are not enemies but teachers, reminding us of resilience, renewal, and the enduring balance of life. Extreme weather is the Earth's way of speaking in stronger tones. Just as we sometimes whisper and sometimes raise our voices, the atmosphere sometimes drifts gently and sometimes surges with power. Both are part of the same song, both necessary to the harmony of the whole. To live on earth is to live within this song, to hear its quiet verses and its thunderous refrains, to find meaning in both. So tonight, as you rest, let the thought of extreme weather bring not unease, but calm. Remember that even storms, blizzards, floods, and droughts serve a purpose, shaping the earth, renewing its life, and reminding us of our place within it. Trust that balance always returns, that calm follows power, that renewal follows loss. Let this awareness soothe you, carrying you gently into dreams where weather is not threat but rhythm, not chaos but harmony, guiding you with its timeless song. From the first beat of dew to the quiet drift of snow, from the light touch of a breeze to the deep rumble of thunder, the story of clouds, rain, and weather has carried us through cycles both gentle and powerful. These forces are not separate from life. They are life itself, shaping every breath, every drop of water, every rhythm of growth and rest. To reflect on them is to reflect on the heartbeat of the earth, steady, ancient, and unbroken. Clouds remind us of impermanence. They form, shift, and vanish, always changing, always moving. Yet in their constant transformation, they reveal something steady. That change is the natural order of the world. Rain tells the story of renewal, falling to nourish soil, rivers, and living beings, then rising again to the sky to begin the journey anew. Wind carries connection, linking seas and forests, mountains and valleys, people and places with its unseen hands. Snow brings stillness, softening sound, pausing time, covering the earth in rest before life awakens again. Each element of weather holds its lesson, simple yet profound. When we think of weather, we often imagine it only as something outside us, but it is woven into our very being. The water in our bodies once fell as rain, once floated as clouds, once lay frozen as snow. The air we breathe is shaped by winds that have traveled around the world. The warmth on our skin is the gift of sunlight, filtered and balanced by the atmosphere. We do not merely live beneath weather. We live within it, carried by its patterns, sustained by its gifts. The cycles of weather also mirror the cycles of our lives. Just as clouds gather and dissolve, our thoughts and feelings shift and change. Just as rain nourishes, we too find renewal in moments of release, in letting go and beginning again. Just as winds connect distant places, our lives are linked by unseen threads, our actions carrying farther than we know. Just as snow rests and melts, we move through seasons of stillness and growth, each one necessary, each one meaningful. To look at weather is to look at ourselves, reflected in the sky above and the earth below. Weather holds both gentleness and power, just as life does. Storms may seem fierce, but they pass, leaving behind clearer skies. Floods may rise, but they retreat, leaving soil richer than before. Droughts may test patience, but they teach gratitude, making every drop of water precious. Extremes remind us of resilience, of the strength that comes from adapting, from enduring, from trusting in the return of balance. In this way, weather speaks not of chaos, but of harmony, even when its notes sound loud and strong. There is comfort in remembering that these cycles are ancient. Long before humans walked the earth, clouds drifted, rains fell, winds blew, and snow covered the land. Long after us, these rhythms will continue, steady as the turning of the earth itself. We are part of something vast and timeless, a story written not in words, but in air, water, and light. To witness weather is to glimpse eternity, carried in the smallest drop and the widest sky. When you look up at clouds, you are seeing travelers that may have crossed oceans. When you feel rain, you are touching water that has been part of countless rivers and seas, perhaps even snow that fell thousands of years ago. When you hear wind, you are listening to the voice of the planet, moving endlessly around its surface. When you watch snowfall, you are seeing crystals formed high in the sky, drifting with patience toward the ground. Each moment of weather carries history. Each one connects us to the whole of the earth. As the story of clouds, rain, and weather closes here, it does not truly end. The cycles continue, as they always have and always will. Tomorrow will bring its own sky, its own patterns, its own moods. Perhaps it will be bright with sunlight, perhaps soft with clouds, perhaps touched with rain or snow. Whatever comes, it will be part of the same great rhythm, the same endless song that sustains all life. To live within this rhythm is to belong, to be carried gently by something greater than ourselves. If you close your eyes now, imagine the earth breathing in its weather. Picture clouds forming, drifting, and dissolving. Picture rain falling, feeding rivers, then rising once again. Picture winds carrying air across mountains and seas, linking every place together. Picture snow resting on the ground, quiet and patient, waiting to melt into streams. Let these visions remind you that you too are part of this breath, part of this endless motion. You are held by the same forces, nourished by the same cycles, carried by the same harmony. The heartbeat of the earth is not loud. It is not hidden in machines or measured only by instruments. It is heard in rain against windows, in wind through trees, in thunder rolling across valleys, in silence after snow. It is felt in warmth on your skin, in coolness in the air, in the fragrance of soil after rain. This heartbeat is steady, ancient, and reassuring. It reminds you that life continues, that renewal follows rest, that balance returns again and again. So let this story end not with a farewell, but with a return to calm. Know that the weather around you is not separate, but part of you, a reflection of cycles that guide every living thing. Trust that clouds will always drift, that rain will always fall and rise again, that winds will always carry, that snow will always rest and melt. These truths are eternal, steady companions for as long as the earth turns. And as you drift into sleep, let the rhythm of weather carry you. Imagine yourself surrounded by clouds, rain, wind, and snow, each one gentle, each one a teacher, each one a part of the earth's great breath. Let their stories soothe you, let their cycles remind you of harmony, and let their presence guide you into dreams. For in the end, the tale of weather is the tale of life itself, always changing, always renewing, always flowing, forever and ever.